In the world of politics in general, nothing is ever truly free. Anyone who thinks exceptions are given by chance simply hasn't understood yet. So, how is the game played behind the scenes? Today there was a rather strange event that happened. Maybe no one noticed it because it's a strange, surprising, and even shocking decision all at once. Trump, who imposes sanctions on almost every country in the world just to keep them away from Russia, he allowed a small European country called Hungary. He allowed it to break all those sanctions. Hungary lacks a strong army, significant political influence, or similar assets. It became the only country in Europe that buys Russian oil and gas. With official American approval. What's the secret behind that? What's the price in exchange? Why do we feel today about what happened in Hungary? Might be repeated in Morocco. We have important details today. Stay tuned. Dear viewers, peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings. Welcome to our program today in this renewed meeting, God willing, from the series of wonderful episodes today, dear viewers. In the midst of this ongoing conflict between Russia and the West in general, some intriguing details are emerging. In fact, there are some events that are very important for us to discuss, very important for us to present to you today, so that everyone knows exactly what is happening and how international politics is being managed today. And are these the same scenarios that could also be repeated with Morocco? When you know what is happening in different parts of the world, you realize that this scenario could be repeated in Morocco. So about 2 days ago, there was an event that surely went unnoticed, meaning not everyone paid attention to it. The controversial Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban, held talks with the American President Trump. But what's strange here is that after these talks, Trump allowed Hungary to continue importing oil and gas from Russia. So it's strange because everyone knows there are American sanctions and there are also European sanctions on Russia. Sanctions are imposed on all European countries to move away from Russian gas and oil and replace them with American gas. And these sanctions are originally also on the Russian oil and gas sector, and they are specifically aimed at keeping Russian gas and oil away from Europe and the European Union countries. So here, America gave special exemptions from these sanctions to these European countries. Hungary, today they are telling Hungary, you are the only exception. You can continue buying Russian gas and oil however you want. So here, everyone should know that there are two pipelines coming to Hungary from Russia. There is a pipeline that transports gas, which is the pipeline that passes through Turkish territory called the Turk Stream pipeline. And there is another pipeline that transports oil from Russia to Hungary through Ukrainian and Belarusian territory called the Druzhba pipeline. So Hungary, although it is a small country in terms of area, its population does not exceed about 19 million people. However, it imports more than 5 million from Russia annually in oil and gas. Dollars. Meaning that every year it gives $5 million to Russia just for buying oil and gas. And despite that, Trump made an exception for this country, meaning he told them now you can buy as much as you want from Russia, and even more than that. America, which imposes sanctions on Russian oil and gas companies today, lifted the sanctions that are related to this country, Hungary, specifically for Hungary. Anything related to these Russian companies in their commercial and financial dealings with Hungary is now outside the scope of these sanctions. Therefore, this means the continuation of the construction of the second nuclear power plant in Hungary, which is being carried out by the Russian state-owned nuclear energy company, Rosatom. So here a question arises. Why did Trump exempt Hungary from all these sanctions? How did Viktor Orban, the leader of Hungary today, succeed in gaining all this support from America? What did Trump get in return? Because in reality, there is nothing without something in return. And as everyone knows, Trump's slogan today is, "What will you pay?" Anyone who wants any service from America has to pay. Anyone who wants to gain America's friendship has to pay. So the question that was raised here is, what did Hungary pay America in this context to allow it to import oil and gas from Russia? The truth here, which everyone should know, is that there was indeed an important deal on the presidential table in Hungary. That means there were important American demands on Viktor Orban's table. And now Viktor Orban agreed to them during these talks between the two sides. So what happened? Viktor Orban agreed to these demands. So Trump agreed to lift the sanctions on all dealings between Russia and Hungary. But the question here is, what are these demands? So here, first of all, we're talking about a new nuclear agreement between America and Hungary, an upcoming nuclear agreement that includes almost 4 very important gains for America. We could say these are gains that wouldn't have been possible without the pressure Trump is putting on all countries. The world. So the first gain is that Hungary will commit to buying American nuclear fuel from the specialized American company Westinghouse. Translation: Nancy Fan Hungary, just so everyone knows. It has a nuclear power plant for electricity production called PAX, which was built in the 1980s in the Soviet style and is operated by Hungary with Russian nuclear fuel. So the first American gain now, of course, is that operating this plant from now on will not only be with Russian nuclear fuel, but also with American nuclear fuel. And this means ensuring America's entry into one of the most important markets that Russia had monopolized for many decades. This means competing with Russia in this country, competing with Russia in this sector related to nuclear fuel. And here, pay close attention to the fact that, for the first time ever, Hungary will use non-Russian nuclear fuel in its nuclear reactor. Also, pay close attention to the fact that when we talk about nuclear fuel, we are talking about uranium. We are talking about this major international conflict now taking place between the great powers over rare natural resources, and the most important of these resources is uranium. So now America is taking control of the uranium found in Ukraine, and it is also taking control of uranium in a number of other regions. And what is it doing at the same time? Now it is looking for new markets to sell this nuclear fuel produced from uranium. So now it is entering one of Russia's traditional markets. Pay close attention. If, for example, Hungary used to buy nuclear fuel from Russia worth, let's say, $200 million, and now it only buys $100 million worth, the rest will come from America. So this is America's first gain, and this confirms Trump's policy. Do you want to trade with Russia? You have to pay as well. There's nothing for free anymore these days. The second benefit is also that Hungary is committed to building a facility for storing this American nuclear fuel. That's good. But the benefit is that this facility must use American technology, meaning that all the mechanisms, technologies, and so on in this facility must come from America. Not from Russia, not from France, not from China, nor from any other country. It must come from America. So Trump here is gaining another advantage, that's true, but more importantly, he is strengthening this country's dependence on American technologies instead of European, Russian, and so on. The third gain is also that Hungary is committed to granting America the construction and building of small nuclear reactors on its territory. So Hungary, just so everyone knows, Hungary has a plan to build 10 small nuclear reactors with a total cost reaching $20 billion. So before Trump became president of America, maybe the construction of these reactors would have gone to Russia, since the country uses Soviet-Russian technology. But now Trump has taken this major deal out of the hands of the Russians. So Trump allowed Russian supplies of gas and oil to continue to this country, Hungary, but in return, America will be the one to build the nuclear reactors that Hungary plans to construct in the future. And the deal, as I said, reaches a very significant figure, $20 billion. So the exchange here is clear, competing with Russia in this field. And here we will talk about the fourth gain, the most important of all these gains. This fourth gain is that Trump has secured for the first time the place where American nuclear technologies are tested, where the American experience is showcased to other countries, meaning outside of America. Because today, when we talk about nuclear power plants, we are basically talking about what? We are talking about Russia. That means Russia completely controls this peaceful nuclear sector. Russia is a global leader in this field. All the nuclear power plants in the world use Soviet technology, meaning Russia. And we find that it is Russia that built them for several reasons. For example, Russia has speed in carrying out such projects. The nuclear project that France or America says needs 12 years to become a reality, Russia builds it in just 5 or 7 years at most. This also affects the cost of the project. The nuclear project that America says needs 10, 11 or 12 billion dollars, Russia says it only needs 5 or 6 billion dollars, which is a huge difference. So in this peaceful nuclear field, the longer the construction process takes, the more the cost increases. Add to that, the Russians offer financing solutions to developing countries. They can build complete plants and receive their fees in installments over several years. That's why we started to see developing countries, weak or poor countries perhaps, now having nuclear power plants. All these reasons made the Russians number one in the world in this field among all the countries that have nuclear power plants today. We find that Russia is the one that built them, while America for decades has only built a handful of plants that you can count on your fingers. And they're limited to certain countries like Finland, Japan, South Korea or Taiwan, countries like these. So today, America has started to take a new approach. It wants to penetrate the traditional Russian markets in this field, the peaceful nuclear field. The first place it started with was Ukraine at the beginning of this war in Ukraine. They started using American nuclear fuel instead of Russian fuel there. This was the first step. The second step was building a facility to store this fuel using American technology instead of Soviet technology. Now comes the third step, which brings us to this discussion about Hungary. So America's plan with this upcoming nuclear agreement with Hungary is to test the new American technology. Today we're discussing nuclear reactors. Small ones, building 10 small reactors. And the expertise in this matter goes to the American company NuScale. This company has no experience yet outside America. It hasn't implemented any project of this kind outside American territory. So Trump wants to make Hungary the first trial for this company in order to promote its success. This means that in the future, other countries around the world will get involved, which would mean competing with Russia. And here, we can raise a question about the reason behind the delay of Morocco's entry into the club of nuclear countries. Was it also for this reason? If Hungary delayed the implementation of this project, which was planned to be carried out with Russia until today, when it appears that they will grant it to America, is Morocco also delaying this project in order to determine exactly who will be the partner in this project? Subscribe to the channel because for a long time now there has been strong talk that Morocco is planning to build nuclear power plants with Russia, and they chose an area in the Essaouira region called Sidi Boulbra, I believe, to be the site of this plant. And they made several agreements in this regard with the Atomic Energy Agency, with this Russian company Rosatom, and they also have cooperation in this field with the United States. But up until today, it hasn't yet reached the stage of making a final decision. Morocco is still in the evaluation phase, and it has been delayed a lot in settling this matter. So here, the question arises, is Morocco delaying this project? Because there is a possibility of turning to American technology instead. Russian? Is he delaying it? To turn this project from a single major nuclear power plant with Russia into a project of a group of small nuclear power plants with America? Was Morocco just waiting to resolve the Moroccan Sahara issue to announce the project and move it from Sidi Boulbra to the regions of the Moroccan Sahara? Is this possible? Is Morocco waiting for the right time to announce cooperation with both of them together in this context? You mean with Russia and with America together? So all of these are possible scenarios that can't be decided for sure, but they're likely because of Trump's moves and the new American policy that relies on this principle. Everyone has to pay America, whether it's a strong country, a weak one, a developing one, whatever it is, everyone has to pay America. With this deal, this new understanding that we talked about today, it's like an experiment or a formula between America and Hungary regarding the peaceful nuclear energy issue. All of these things make us think today, is this really the reason for the delay in announcing this project? Let us know your answers in the comments below this video, and subscribe now, hit the like button.